Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, Ripple has concluded, but guess what? Good for us, because Link2's Nick Burafato has got the highlights for us, and I'm going to bring them to you right now. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for exclusive content. Right now, $873 billion market cap for crypto. Bitcoin, 16,700 plus. Ethereum, 1,200 plus. We see XRP at 38 cents this morning. Good morning, everyone. Before we get to any news today, remember, with all the uncertainty and things happening on exchanges, get the link below here. There's an excellent deal and special for you waiting. If you just click the link and get yourself some cold storage at Ledger, that's what I've done, and the majority of my holdings are on Ledger. So make sure you check that out for yourself. If you've been waiting, now's your time. Let's get started, because we got the Ripple highlights for you. They are amazing. We're going to hear about Bank of America. We're going to hear about the benefits for Bank of America with Ripple and XRP technology. We're going to hear about Mastercard. We're going to hear about Visa and ODL with Currency Cloud. Is that coming? Oh boy, XRP clarity. Oh, we got so much. But anyway, let's touch this very quickly here, because FTX is a huge, what do you call it? Black eye on the face of crypto. It really is. But you know what? It's better that Band-Aid come off now than have it come off 6 months or a year from now, right? As horrible as it is, that's the truth. So right now, just in, FTX co-founder files emergency legal document alleging Bahamas regulators instructed Sam Bankman-Fried to transfer company assets to the government. Okay, so there's that. And then we have this. This is always a nice little reminder here. Caitlin Long is one smart lady. And just listen to this really quickly here.
Of this really stems from the ethos of Bitcoin. Satoshi gave us money that isn't debt. And philosophically, why would you put debt on something? I like to use the phrase, a fool and their leveraged Bitcoin are soon parted.
What a statement that is. And that goes for any crypto right now in this young nascent market. You know, I am excited about the idea of DeFi. I also understand that DeFi is probably going to graduate at some point in the future to what the new banking system will look like, pretty much. I can see that. But in this time now, it is so risky to do DeFi, depending where you're doing it, right? You have to be very selective when you go about doing something like that and staking your stuff for return. I'm very picky about where I would do those things. So I think that's an incredible comment in this young market, especially before we have clarity. Just keep those things in mind when you make your decisions. Right here, FTX collapse bring new urgency for crypto regulation. It sure does. This is Kathy Yoon here from MPCH Labs. Very quick clip. Take a listen.
Clearly, in the wake of the FTX implosion, there has really been this urgency for regulation in this space.
When it just comes to regulation of the space in general, I know a lot of people are calling for it. They want immediate action. But I think at the heart of things, we really have to remember this really is a fraud first, and not necessarily something that touches all of the crypto space in general. You know, a lot of the
Now, I think she makes a good point that this is specific to that company, and it doesn't mean that everyone else in the space is as the same as FTX. I just thought that was a fantastic point. However, I do want to touch on the fact that when it comes to how cascading these effects could be, it really, really is troublesome, because they have FTX bought so many positions in other companies, and as FTX FTX went down. We've seen many other companies now have to write down their investment to zero and or go insolvent themselves. And I don't think that story, that part of this story is quite over yet. So keep yourself braced for that. And here we have Mark Moss, who I think says it exactly the way we've been saying it here. I completely agree. He says, I don't think the crypto market fully understands what happens when the SEC makes 99% of the tokens securities, digital asset securities, in fact, right, Mark? It's true. This is why I believe we have seen the last crypto bull market. Now there, I think I shift a little bit, but I think Mark, first of all, you should follow Mark. He's really great. And I'm not trying to split hairs here, but I believe when we get the next bull run, it will be a utility bull run. Because I do believe that 99, maybe even 99.9% of tokens are going to end up going away once we have clarity. Because I do believe, as I've said long ago when Gary got there and finally revealed to us his position, because it's much different than MIT, I believe what we've learned is that they want to roll the majority of assets, digital assets, into digital asset securities, into the securities framework, because it's easier and there's less chance of messing up how to regulate these new assets. I also believe that's why the case is so important. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hear the highlights right now and wrap with this. This is remarkable. And shout out again to Nick Burafedo from Link2. This is where you can get Ripple. This is where you can get PolySign. Yes, you have to be accredited, but I'm telling you, if you're not, look, we're all here because we want to create wealth, get rich, right? One thing I do understand about private equity is there is no guarantees in any investment. But I have learned that more companies are staying private longer before going public. And this is where, as we say, putting my pennies next to their dollars, I'm trying to do what the largest, richest people in the world are doing. And a lot of them are investing into private equity. And if you're able to, I would not wait for this opportunity because it doesn't last long. And at some point, we know that Ripple is going to have some kind of an exit. A public exit of some sort, right? So that's the plan from Brad Garlinghouse. So if you're inclined, the link is underneath the video. And this is some remarkable highlights that we're about to hear of Ripple Swell, conversations about the benefits of technology from Ripple and XRP that the Bank of America is chomping at the bit to use. We're going to hear from Brad Garlinghouse. Or why is Mastercard at Swell? Why is Currency Cloud that was bought by Visa telling we may be using on-demand liquidity with XRP. I mean, this is some remarkable highlights. Shout out to you, Nick, and Link2 for putting him there. Make sure you check out that link underneath the video. Check it out.
Investments at Link2. I am actually in London today and tomorrow for the Ripple Swell event. It has been an amazing day. I had an opportunity to chat with Brad Garlinghouse one-on-one this morning. Also, Stuart Alderati. Got some great information. Want to share it with you. Also took some notes as each of the different speakers spoke, and want to tell you all the things that I think were the high points today, and all the things that our investors might be interested in.
And we've seen how XRP has really moved from the retail side into a B2B tokenized remittance partner.
ODL is very cost effective, so it allows us to provide very good pricing to our customers, and plus the fact that it's available 24/7. It's not subject to the banking hours. Also, it's very fast. The transactions are completed in just a few seconds. So it's those benefits that really helps us in terms of improving our service to our customers.
Right now, where would XRP trade? You can't list it on the NASDAQ. Coinbase is not a broker-dealer, so you couldn't list it on Coinbase. So if the SEC, for example, had a real plan and they had thought through this, they would actually have done the hard work to create a framework for crypto to trade as a security in potentially a more efficient way. Now, look, the reality is, I think it's extremely clear, even by the law in the United States, and actually I'll digress by pointing out something I think I said on Squawk Box this morning. The only country on the planet that thinks XRP is a security is the United States. Globally, and here in the UK, we can operate with clarity, and the reason why our business has grown so much outside the United States is because you have countries like Japan, Singapore, the UK, Switzerland, Abu Dhabi, UAE, who have made it clear And therefore, companies and Ripple and other entrepreneurs can build in those environments with clarity about what the rules are. In the United States, the SEC, I think, has really just tried to do a power grab and extend what the law says. And the law, we think, is pretty clear on this, and so we're looking forward to the resolution in the court.
Okay, so I'm going to take you through my notes from the day. It's quite loud in here, so I apologize. First thing is, I met with Brad Garlinghouse face-to-face, and Brad was so confident. He's got an air of confidence about him that's unbelievable. I met Brad first in 2019 back in Singapore, and he's even more confident today than he was back then. He made it clear that they're ready to settle with the SEC as long as they can get clarity on XRP. I asked him if American companies were waiting on the sidelines to jump in the game once clarity happens, and he said absolutely. And he specifically said Bank of America. Bank of America is a huge partner of Ripple, and he said Bank of America stands to gain really big when the settlement happens, because they're going to have a huge competitive advantage over their competitors by using ODL in the marketplace. So Brad is very, very bullish. When asked what motivates Brad every day, Brad just said, I want to put a dent in the universe. We've heard that from Naveen Gupta, and Brad has the same philosophy, so that was fantastic. That was my one-on-one with Brad. I also chatted with Stuart Alderati, who, as everyone knows, is counsel for Ripple. Stuart is such an impressive person. His confidence is unbelievable. You could just tell he's a master at what he does. He said the amicus, hopefully I'm saying it right, all of them were so helpful to the case and are helpful to the case. He said multiple times he would settle within an hour if they would give clarity to XRP. He made it very clear that they are ready, but I love the fact that we're hearing from Brad and we're hearing from Stuart that the clarity to XRP is still a deal killer. They've got to have it. And the other thing that really struck me with Stuart Alderati was Stuart said, I have it quoted, I have it written here on my page, he said, when we win. So he fully expects to win. As far as speakers on the stage, Mastercard was here today. Jorn Lambert, he's the chief digital officer from Mastercard. Look, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, why is Mastercard here? Why are they speaking? I'll let everyone connect the dots for themselves. But he said blockchain will create efficiencies in payment solutions that will be transformational. He did go on to say the financial industry must get on board, but they are slow to change. It was great to see Mastercard here, and I'll make another connection. While I was having lunch, I was speaking to a gentleman at lunch. He works for a company called Currency Cloud. Currency Cloud is a Ripple partner. They create software that remittance companies use, and they were recently bought out by Visa. So Visa earns Currency Cloud. Currency Cloud does business with Ripple, which I think is a really cool connection, and I really thought that was neat. Then James Wallace spoke today. James Wallace heads up the, I don't know what his official title is, but he heads up the CBDC program at Ripple, and he is a very, very impressive person. In fact, he's a vice president at Ripple. He spoke on the stage. He talked about CBDCs being useful in domestic payments, cross-border payments. He said that obviously most people and most of our investors know that CBDCs can run on a private ledger, which is what countries really want. He talked about Palau. Palau was the first government to issue a stable coin by tokenizing the dollar, the American dollar, because it's easier to use a tokenization of the American dollar in the way of a stable coin than it is to actually use the dollar. And James confirmed with me after he spoke, I had a chat with him, that is being created on the XRP ledger. So I thought that was fantastic. James also went on to say that he thought CBDCs would start to go live in the next 1 to 2 years, and then more and more over the years. But they're getting close. This was just an interesting thing. Ripple had a hackathon, a CBDC hackathon, and I just thought the names of the companies that were the judges of the Ripple CBDC hackathon, these are just some of the names: Mastercard, AWS, Amazon Web Services, Accenture, the Digital Dollar Project, PwC, the BIS Innovation Hub. I just thought that was interesting that they're involved with Ripple and that they were helping with that hackathon. So it's just good to see those types of names working with Ripple, in concert with Ripple. You know, the overall vibe here is excellent. It's very professional. When I was in Singapore in 2019, it was very professional, but it was very like more of a party environment. This is all business. I mean, it's all business here today. Everyone's here talking business and talking about what they do. It's such an impressive place to be. The last thing I want to talk about is Brad Garlinghouse. When Brad got on stage, everyone's talking about FTX. Everyone's talking about FTX, which brings us to safety and security. Brad talked about FTX. He said, look, it wasn't good for crypto, but in the end, we're going to grow stronger because of it. It's important to clean out the bad actors and for crypto to not only get regulations, but to have the good people in the business. So I just thought that was great. It's been a common theme here today. ODL. So look, Brad talked about ODL, which is on-demand liquidity, which is the use of XRP. It was in 4 markets in 2020. It is currently in 40 markets. We went from 4 to 40, including Africa. And it's literally, ODL is now in 90% of all FX markets, which I just thought was amazing. Ripple has $1 billion of cash in the bank, so they are just rock solid. And he's just long-term bullish for the future of Ripple and the future of digital assets. And they also hired 110 people in Q3. Hey, I want to go back and just say, I used the term settlement earlier when I talked about Ripple, when I talked about Brad Garlinghouse and Stuart Alderati. And look, it could be a settlement. It could be, the end of the case, and the judge may settle the case. What I really mean to say is a conclusion. So I don't want anybody to read into it. Nobody told me there's a settlement. The conclusion of the case. But one of the things that Stuart said to me was he thinks when it's over, it's over. So I thought that was really cool. But that's it for day one. Thank you all. We appreciate your business. We appreciate your support. Be back tomorrow for day 2, and have a great night. Bye-bye.
Well, I don't know about you, but I mean, we've talked an awful lot about how important this case is for Ripple and XRP. We've talked a lot about how important this case is for the crypto space, and all of those things are real. But I think what we've learned here today is that this case is also important to the banks, because it sounds like they're chomping at the bit to use it. That's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me, Nick, or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.